1,500, right around 1,500 nanograms per deciliter was my testosterone levels, which is a little bit higher than I would want.
It's a lot higher. Coach Greg, the video you've been waiting for, the results are in. Alex Eubank has now gotten his blood work and shocker, his testosterone levels are too high. What have I been saying from day one? Alex can say all he likes that he's just on HRT. But we all know this is not actually HRT. Your testosterone levels are going to be way higher than they should be. Supra-physiological. And how do you think I knew that? Bro put on about 20 pounds in 3 months. That is not the result of HRT. Now remember, Alex said that if his testosterone levels are too high, that he's going to, in fact, lower the doses. Let's get right into it. And so we've seen the physique. He's posing, flexing, and so on. Does this look like a guy who's only on HRT? He's clearly not. Now, yes, it's prescribed by his doctor and disguised as HRT, but it isn't actually HRT. Remember, H stands for hormones, R stands for replacement, and the T, it's therapy. TRT, HRT, it's about the same thing. Testosterone replacement therapy. Is he in fact replacing his testosterone? Well, let's find out.
I want to know, first off, so I can lower my dose if I have to, like I said I would, if it came back too high. So we were at 1,500, right around 1,500 nanograms per deciliter was my testosterone levels, which is a little bit higher than I would want.
What are normal testosterone levels for a 25-year-old healthy athletic male in nanograms per deciliter? Total testosterone, 300 to 1,000. However, for a healthy athletic male, he looks healthy and he certainly looks athletic. Levels are often at the higher end of the range, more commonly between 600 and 900 nanograms per deciliter. Alex clearly is not going to be wanting to be on the lower end of the range. Remember, he's on HRT. And so I certainly don't think he's going to take testosterone levels and they're going to put him at 3, 4, 500 and he's going to be satisfied. Clearly, if you're replacing testosterones, you want to replace them optimally. It makes sense that he's going to want to be at the higher end of the spectrum. For healthy athletic males, it says 600 to 900. Now, yes, there are some rare individuals who are even higher, maybe even 1,000. And so the results came in and he's at 1,500.
Right around 1,500 nanograms per deciliter was my testosterone levels, which is a little bit higher than I would want.
It's a lot higher. In case you're wondering, I'm on 140 milligrams a week, which is in fact a higher dose. And my testosterone, they come between the 500s and 765. Depending on when I do the shot and so on, depending on the testing, 500s to 700s. 750 times 2 is 1,500. And so Alex's testosterone levels are about double mine. Do I look like I need to double my testosterone? Does anyone think that 1,500 is even close to what you should expect? That it's just TRT, replacement doses. And so if Noel Diesel, for example, posted his blood work and said, my test levels are at 1,500, would y'all say, yeah, he's just on TRT? Is that in fact TRT? Now, we all know Derek from Gorilla Mind. He posted a video. He said, look, TRT at various doses, you can't just expect it to be safe. It's a big difference between 400, 600, and 1,100. 1,100, probably not safe. It's higher than normal, it's super physiological, and it's constantly going to be elevated. And so don't expect that you can do that for years, decades, and be healthy. His is at 1,500. Alex is a man of his word, and he said if his testosterone levels are too high, he's going to, in fact, lower the doses. He lowered them by 50. Now, how many of you out there, raise your hand, think that by lowering it from 200 to 150, his testosterone levels are going to go from 1,500 to below 1,000? Does anyone think that? No, nobody thinks that. We all know that it's still going to be too high. But remember, I don't think that Alex actually went on HRT just to replace his testosterone. I think he was trying to maximize his gains while still being healthy. It's up for debate whether or not he should have been on HRT. Is it okay? Is it not okay? It's prescribed by a doctor. But listen, it's his body, his choice. And I do believe that by lowering his doses, it's going to make him healthier.
I was hoping to be closer to that like 11-ish, 100 range. So I lowered it by 50 milligrams. So now I'll be taking 150 milligrams a week.
Alex, you should watch Derek's video. 1,100, it's not a healthy range. Now, if 1100 were healthy, if there was nothing wrong with that, why wouldn't I be at 1100? Like, all you have to do is really think about this. I like muscles. I like training, I like being athletic, and I used to be on steroids for 10 years. If 1100 were safe, if it were healthy, why would my testosterone levels be in the 5s, 6s, and 700s? Remember what I say, the lowest dose that makes you happy. I don't think Alex needs 200 milligrams a week. I don't think he needs 150 milligrams a week. He most certainly would be healthy with 100 milligrams. And further to that, he was healthy with nothing. Remember what his testosterone levels were in the past. Editors, you got to show this. At one point, they were over 900.
So I have it in front of me. So total testosterone was 932. Reference range was 250 to 1100.
What is wrong with being in the 900s? Yeah, when he was younger and he crash dieted, at one point it was in the 200s. This is way too low. If he were constantly in the 200s, not feeling good, I'd be like, yes, of course you need HRT. But when you're in the 600s, the 900s, HRT isn't necessary.
I'll stay at that. I've been on it for about 2 weeks now, two and a half weeks now. And then in about 8 weeks, I will get my blood work again. And then we'll see where it is at then.
And so what I do think is happening is Alex is trying to go on the highest dose possible and make as much gains as he can before the doctors tell him you should be lowering the doses. Remember, they're at 1500. That is too high. Now, you all know I'm sponsored by Transcend. And what would they have recommended? Well, I asked them. I talked about this case. Would you have given Alex HRT? They said no. What we would recommend is enclomiphene, perhaps HCG. You don't need to jump on testosterone when you're in your mid-20s, when your testosterone levels are actually already normal. They were in the 900s. Remember that. He made a video on it. And so, of course, there were other things he could have used prior to this. For example, HCG and enclomiphene. Enclomiphene, it's oral, could have taken, for example, 12.5 milligrams a day, perhaps 25, and seen exactly what would that do. Many people on enclomiphene, it will double their levels of testosterone. And so if you're a healthy 25-year-old and you're at 350 nanograms per deciliter, perhaps you do enclomiphene and it goes up to 700, or maybe even more, maybe even, dare I say, over 900. I mean, is it not possible that Alex Eubank had already tried enclomiphene and it raised his testosterone levels from when they were lower, perhaps in the 400s, maybe even 600, to well over 900? I'm just saying, what makes sense to you? Wish you were not on TRT at age 24, but at least you lowered the dose, so that's one step in the right direction. And so does this comment not make any sense? He's saying, you know what? I'm happy that you lower the dose. You don't need HRT in the first place, but at least you're lowering the dose because 1500 nanograms per deciliter, that's not healthy. And I do believe when he gets the blood work back from 150 milligrams, it's still going to be over 1,000. And so he's going to need to go to a lower dose than last time. But here's the problem. When you get used to 200, you're going to feel good. I mean, did we not see the results? About 20 pounds of muscle in 3 months. And then when you lower the dose to 150, he's saying, look, I feel pretty good right now. There's no real difference. There is. You're not going to feel the same on 150 milligrams as you were on 200. But what about when he gets the next results? Let's say his results are 1150. And the doctor says, you know what, 1150, it's very high. That's not replacement doses. We're dropping you down to 100. And then at that point, he's at 750. Doctor says, perfect. You're at the same level as Coach Greg. What do you think he's going to feel like then? He's going to have half the doses he was used to. Half the amount of testosterone. And so when he goes to the gym, he won't get the same pumps, the same recovery. He won't feel as manly as he was when he was on 200 milligrams. And it's not just the physical, it's also the mental as well.
I feel like I just feel like more of a man.
And so does it not make more sense to have started at 100? And so I'm telling you, it's better to start low and slowly titrate up. If 100 milligrams resulted in him being at 600 milligrams and the doctor says, hey, you know what? We could probably up that dose. Let's go up to 120, 140. This is what happened to me. I'm simply sharing you my results. When I was first given HRT, I started at 100 milligrams. And then when the doctor saw that the results were a little bit lower, he raised it and raised it again. This took years. It wasn't done in a couple of weeks. It wasn't done in a couple of months. It took years to get that dose increased. When I partnered with Transcend and they saw my blood work, not once but twice, to make sure that I was healthy, they said, based on these results, your testosterone levels, they're not actually that high. Remember, I'm in the 500s to the 700s. They said it's okay for you. You can raise your doses to 200. What did I then do? I raised it to 170 to see. Wanted to try it. And what did I notice? I noticed that I was getting more watery, more puffy. Didn't like it. And so, as I always say, the lowest dose that makes you happy, I'm going to stick it back down to 140. You're in charge of your own health. Just because a doctor says you should start at 200 milligrams doesn't mean that you have to. Why not ask for a second opinion? Why not contact Transcend? If Alex had have contacted Transcend, they would have said, you know what, Alex? We should start you on enclomiphene. I don't think you need HRT. Alex could have then tried enclomiphene. Perhaps his testosterone levels would have been at 1,000. Perhaps he would have felt amazing. And so if that worked, why not stick with that? Maybe they would have said, you know what, you could change your diet, perhaps go to bed on time. Perhaps they could have given him peptides to help him get better sleep. Better sleep comes improved testosterone levels. And so why resort to HRT when you may not even need it? Remember, he's only, 24? HRT, it's for the rest of your life. 60 years from now, if he lives that long, he's going to have to continue to do so. Be careful what you wish for. Interested in working with Transcend, getting your blood work done, getting a doctor who actually cares to monitor you, make sure that you're doing what you should be doing, please click the link in the description.
I had my blood work done fasted in the morning after that. I don't know if that plays into it at all.
Being fasted or not fasted, it's not going to make a difference in your testosterone levels. But it does take around 48 hours for an injection to peak in your body. And so if he did the shot the night before and he did the test in the morning, it's about 12 hours later. 12 hours after a shot, your testosterone levels are still rising. And so had he have taken the shot the night before that, the day before, and then got his blood work, rather than 1,500, it may have been 16, maybe even 1,700. So what I believe is taking his shot at this point, it would have been on the lower end of the spectrum. And so his testosterone levels most likely are ranging between 1,400 and 1,700. They're going up and down somewhere in the 1,400s to 1,700. Does that sound normal? Is that replacement doses? Remember, TRT, HRT, testosterone replacement therapy. If your testosterone levels are through the roof, way higher than what a normally healthy athletic male is going to have, is that actually replacement doses? It's not. And so what they should be calling this is testosterone optimization therapy, TOP. In order for your testosterone levels to be optimal, you probably need higher doses. After all, normal is between 300 and 1,000. If the doctor prescribed him 50 milligrams and his testosterone levels came back at 450, would that be optimal? It's normal. It's replacement. But would it be optimal? I would argue no. Optimal to me is at the higher end of the range. And so when I consider my own testosterone, I consider it to be closer to optimal. Replacement for a guy 49 years of age, perhaps I'd only be at 400, maybe 500. And so if I'm walking around at 750, well, that's optimal. I can train harder, I can build more muscle, I recover better, I sleep better. And so I'm not saying that it's not okay to aim for the higher end of the spectrum, but what I am saying is that if you're supra-physiological, if you're at 1,100, what Alex is saying that's where he wants to be. Well, based on the evidence, based on what Derek was saying, he stated that 1,100, it's too high. We don't know if this is actually safe. And so just because your favorite influencer, for example, Noel Diesel, Alex Eubank, and so on, says they're on HRT, is it really replacement therapy? If their testosterone levels are through the roof, remember, Alex is open, honest, and transparent. He's saying his doses, 200 milligrams. He's showing you the blood work, 1,500. He could have lied. Hey guys, I am on 200 milligrams a week. Blood work came back. I'm at 970. I'm keeping it there. But he didn't do that. He said it's 1,500. It's too high. I'm lowering the doses. In comparison, Noel says, I used to be on steroids. Now I'm not. I'm on something called TRT. And you see how big I am still? This is how much muscle I did without steroids. I don't like that. It sends the message that no matter what you're doing, if it's called TRT, that it's perfectly safe. that he's not on steroids anymore, that he owes his physique to himself. After all, he's only on replacement doses, but is he really? I don't see Noel talking about his blood work. I don't see the results. Is Noel at 1,500? What if he's at 5,000? We don't know.
But yeah, lowering by 50, I honestly been still feeling like pretty good off of being on 150 the last 2.5 weeks.
And so Alex says, look, I've been feeling good the last 2.5 weeks. I've since lowered my dose to 150. I would argue he looks better. Have you guys seen him at 194 pounds, I do believe? And he's currently at 187. Does he not look a little bit leaner, less bloated, less puffy? Did he look more aesthetic? Did he look better to you? Weighing 194? I think he looks better at 187 than at 194. And so on lower doses, 150 versus 200, I think less is more. He looks better, he looks more aesthetic, and he's going to have less side effects. He did describe that he had an oily back, that was the cause of taking 200 milligrams a week. But what we don't know is, what did it do to his blood pressure, his cholesterol, liver enzymes, kidneys, everything? And so although he mentions he has 1,500 nanograms per deciliter for his testosterone, they haven't yet given him the full results. I'm looking forward to an upcoming video where he shares all of the results. Was he in fact healthy? What did 200 milligrams do to Alex Eubanks' blood work?
I personally don't feel like I've been having any negative side effects. The only thing I can think of, which I already had a little bit of beforehand, is maybe a little bit more like oily, like my back.
Now remember, he's saying, I personally don't feel I've had any negative side effects. Now here's the thing. We haven't seen his actual blood work. Now he's saying, yeah, the oily back, perhaps the bloating and so on. People have noticed he wasn't quite as attractive. But remember this, oftentimes you don't feel the side effects. For example, did you know that blood pressure is known as the silent killer? You don't feel your blood pressure. You can't feel it. Or perhaps as high as Mike Israetel when he loses his IFBB Pro card because he didn't have a proper tan. You don't feel the blood pressure. And so maybe it's 150 over 90. You don't feel it. You don't notice it. But it's killing you softly.
Again, I'm not trying to promote TRT. I'm not trying to do any of that. I just know that people have been asking, like, what were my results at, and I want to be transparent, open with you guys as a content creator.
He's not promoting TRT. He's not saying you should get on it. He's just giving you his experience. He doesn't want to lie to you. He wants to be open and honest and transparent. What more can he do? And so, unlike other people, I think he's doing it right. Now, do I agree with the fact that he's on HRT? I don't think he should be on it in the first place. But the fact that he's decided to go on HRT, well, how is that different than people taking steroids? It isn't. At least he's admitting it. He did say, if I take 200 milligrams and my testosterone level is too high, then he's going to lower the dose. He lowered the dose.
I don't think 50 milligrams is going to make my physique look different. You know what I mean? So
absolutely think that 50 milligrams is going to make his physique look different. For example, if he had started 150 milligrams a week, start 150, and then, for example, 3 months later said, you know what, I don't feel like it's quite enough. And he got his blood work done, and cholesterol came back good, all the enzymes came back good, testosterone levels were perhaps at 800. And he says, you know what, doc, I feel like I still want to do more. And then the doctor looks at his blood work and says, you know what, everything I do think is safe, you can raise it to 200. I absolutely think it would make a difference in his physique. Have I not gone through this? I'm at 140, the doctor said I could go to 200. If I raise my dose to 190, don't you think you'd see a difference in my physique? I'm certain that you will. And many of y'all think, oh, Coach Greg, he's just a liar. When I say that testosterone is 100% legit, that it's from Uzbekistan, that it's been proven to be authentic in comparison or competition, nope. That we had 140% of label claim, and not once, but twice, multiple batches. If you want to buy something from somebody who's not a snake oil salesman, $20 gift card and a money back guarantee. If you don't think it works, you can try it risk-free. How is that trying to rip you off? You try it, and if it doesn't work, your money's back and a $20 gift card. LOL, my man, 200 milligrams put him at 1.5 times normal test range. That's a cycle for fuck's sakes. I agree that if he was at low test levels, he should have gone on TRT to improve quality of life, but 200 is not TRT. I did 200 milligrams of a prop cycle not long ago, and trust me, even though it's a mild cycle, within 10 weeks, I added 100 pounds to my big three. That's the squat, bench, and deadlift. Lost fat and gained muscle without really changing my diet or gym routine. And so clearly, 200 milligrams is a small cycle. We're calling it TRT, but it's actually not. It isn't TRT. If you want to stay natty Why not use natural supplements that can actually help in the real world? Code Greg, 15% off. Don't forget, money back guarantee and a $20 gift card. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you liked it. Don't forget about the cookbooks, the Circle Diet book, training books, all this on the website. Don't forget about GLP Max as well. If you have hunger cravings, you're trying to diet. The Kaiko bars, they're delicious. Money back guarantee as well, $20 gift card. If you got no money, get over to the website, get the free diet and training program. And until next time, I am out.